Okay.
And welcome back to episode 4.
Oh, sorry. That's not. There's no jokes yet.
No, the joke is that I don't know what episode we are on because we've recorded so many tries. There's been 2 tries. There's been 2 instances where we have recorded something and we aren't gonna ever upload it.
And that happens.
Yeah.
It's like the outtakes.
Yeah.
But I don't think podcasts like show their outtakes.
I see.
Okay, so
Welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 4. I printed out these little
cue cards, and it's really nice because you used to have it on your phone.
Yeah, and I would like be looking at my phone, and I want to be present, like in the moment.
Oh, and have these ancient scrolls. Okay, you're turning back into your ASMR.
So welcome back.
Yes.
It is March. We've sprung
we are
forward.
Recording March, because we're gonna record these and then we're gonna put them out like much later.
Yeah.
Because I very much think it's like very smart to like have ammo ready.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make that gesture.
You pointed it at me.
I didn't mean to. But yeah, I feel like it's very important to have ammo ready and then like present it. And I don't know if it's the fact that am I a control person and I want to control things?
Oh no.
Do you think? Okay.
I think you're just like you want to have like because the horses ready before you let them go to fight.
Because you were very much like, let's just upload it.
Yeah, which I think is smart because like I think what your idea is smart. Because like say like we go on like a couple weeks without recording, which we did. We did 2 weeks. It would leave us some buffer time to like get back on it.
We have our own very like we have our own lives.
Oh yeah.
And
we live 2 separate lives.
We are a complete whole, but sometimes we are 2 separate people.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah. We're not the same.
Yeah, because we have our own careers and aspirations and things going on.
Oh my god, yeah, I have a lot going on, which I'm excited to talk about today.
Yes.
Again, happy March.
March.
It's daylight savings time. Daylight savings
This is
time.
our first episode that we're recording in March.
Yeah.
So happy Women's History Month.
Oof. Yeah, I love women. Respect women.
Why do you look at me like that?
Because you're a woman, right?
You don't have to look at me like that.
Why you kind of...
Okay, anyways.
Happy Women's History Month. Also, it's daylight savings time today, and I got 5 hours of sleep.
I don't really care about like any daylight savings time. Like I never really feel it.
Oh, you just roll with it?
Yeah, I just roll with it. I'm like, they're like, oh, it's supposed to be 1 right now. And I'm like, well, my clock says it's 2, so I'm on 2 o'clock time.
Dude, literally like last night, I was on my phone and it was 11 on my phone because the clocks don't roll until like during like the middle of the night. It's like, ooh, maybe they won't notice. But I was on my phone at 11 and I was like, I kept telling myself, it's midnight. Like, it's not 11. And when it hit midnight, I'm like, it's 1 a.m. And so I slept at like, I guess technically 1 a.m.
Oh.
And I kept like my sleep schedule doesn't change automatically, and I didn't put any effort to like sleep earlier clearly, and so I still woke up at like 6:40. So that's essentially 5 hours of sleep.
I've been doing this thing because I think I've told you I really have trouble like sleeping. So I've been doing this thing where I like kind of like do like a little bit of exercise, I think I want to say, to like get myself to like sleep because I feel like that's an important part.
You exercise at night?
Yeah, like I like move my like I do like kind of thing.
Like jazzercise?
Yes.
I like that. I used to work out like at night, but I felt like if I worked out too close to my bedtime, I'd still like be like
you still be like too much energy in your system. Yes. And you're like, all right, what's next?
So maybe like I should start doing it. Like maybe a walk at night.
That's nice.
Yeah, just a little stroll. But yeah, that's good advice.
I mean, you are gonna have a lot more time now because as we're recording this, you are
not the segue into me quitting my job.
He said it. No. No.
Period. Thank you for the gassing up because
gaslighting you.
By the time this episode releases, and man, what story progression has occurred, like such progression in this podcast, because like beginning, like I remember us in a park like just starting
And we were kind of like, we don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's kind of important to like talk about the fact that you are quitting your job, because I feel like in the pandemic, a lot of people are quitting their jobs.
Oh no, yeah.
Because they realize that they realize their worth.
Yeah, what's it called? The Great Resignation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm scared. We're on the public space.
Yeah. Oh, also for context, we're also back again here.
Oh yeah, we've recorded here before because I think this is a really good spot.
Yeah, it's a public area. That's
Yes,
the most we'll say.
I feel like there needs to be more places where we can just like publicly do our jobs, like a WeWork, but like we don't have. It's not a WeWork.
Yeah, but I think this is the best.
This is the best WeWork that we can get.
It's free. So.
Anyways, what we were talking about, the Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation.
Because people realize their worth.
Yes, people are realizing like, okay, I'm getting paid this much, but I'm doing this, and like I'm being treated like that.
Exactly.
And like I'm gonna put up with all this. So
am I gonna? Should I put up with this? No, it's not worth it. And especially in a time where we don't even know what's like next for any of us, no matter your age.
And that's scary. But I mean, it's 2022. The pandemic is, I don't know, kind of tapering off. I did read an article a couple of nights ago that they found a new variant, but I don't know. I'm honestly just kind of I'm settled in with Miss Corona. So
and it's good to air our feelings here because this is a podcast by 20-something-year-olds for
20-something-year-olds. Yeah.
I think care to elaborate on what you're feeling, because you are feeling a lot of things that you FaceTime me.
Yeah, and I'm totally comfortable being like vulnerable on this podcast because I mean I want people to know like, you know, what
especially since it's your first job.
Yes, this is my first job out of college. So I think I'll try and provide as much information as I can without doxing myself.
Yes, please.
But
because I don't want to edit anything.
So just bleep me. So
I'll blur your face.
When I was finishing up my bachelor's, I was still working at Starbucks, and then I quit Starbucks along with when I graduated school because I'm like, it just feels like a natural tapering off point to jump onto the next chapter.
I feel like that's very good, the fact that you did that, because some people get trapped in their
college job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or like even back in high school, I know people who might continue working in that job. And I mean if that
ends fine.
And that's fine. And sometimes it ends up in like promotion and they might end up running like the whole store.
Yeah.
But for me, I did not want to like move up in Starbucks. I just didn't want to work in that environment. It was really busy. I don't like food service. It's tiring. It's draining. So then I started my job hunt after college, and honestly, I didn't really like apply to many jobs because I got an offer from this company that I'm working for right now. As a recruiter, and this is far from what you thought you would be doing. It's more than a hop and a skip. It's more than like, I mean, it's still in the realm of like doing business because I majored in business administration with information system, but that's really like computer and tech focused. But the company that I'm working on, and especially a recruiting job, like I can tell you, it's straight up like salesman. Like you have to like sell to people like that they want a job. And that is a business, but in a different like avenue of business that you did not like. Oh no, yeah, it's very money hungry. And I mean, so when I was on my job hunt, going back to that, I did apply for like one of the big 4 consulting firms. Yes. And I got really far in to try and become like a system analyst for them. Yeah. And that's, which is what you want to do. And that's what I truly wanted to do, especially with like finishing up my senior year at college. I learned about this career as a system analyst and I was so like interested. Yeah. So I tried really hard on those interviews. I got 3 interviews in, but I got rejected. And that's fine. That happens. Yeah. But what I kept thinking to myself is like, oh my God, I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to be jobless. I'm not going to have a job after school. I don't want to be like that. So I put this like artificial like pressure on myself because my parents were like, my parents were like, take your time. Like we want you to be happy. And like I have the privilege of being able to stay in my parents' house and not have to worry about paying rent and stuff while I'm looking for a job. But here I am with me telling myself, you got to get a job right now. And I don't know if you feel the same pressure of like finding a job. Yeah. And I'm sure of course, like in America, we have to like eventually find something to support ourselves financially.
Yeah.
But I mean, with college and context, like after graduating it, I'm scared because I've heard of the stories of like people being jobless for years after college.
It's called underemployment.
Underemployment.
Yeah.
Huh? Wait, can you elaborate?
Underemployment is when, like, let's say you're working in an industry that's not in your career that you studied for.
Oh my God.
So let's say like you stayed at Starbucks and you had like a degree in like business, you're underemployed.
Wow, I am learning today. Underemployed. Yeah.
Yes.
And
you were scared of underemployment.
Yes, and I ended up underemploying myself by taking this recruiting job because it was essentially, I mean, it's a sales job.
But it still was like a careerial job.
Yes. I ended up being, it was like a small training period where you're paid hourly, but then you become salaried. And you know, when you hear like, oh, salary, like
it's like, ooh,
it's a real job.
hard ice.
Yes. Like auga. Like, yeah. Like, oh my God, that's it. This is my career. But I mean, I want to say the second or third job that I applied to during my job hunt, and I took it.
Oh,
and,
I see.
And now that I think about it, I think, man, that was kind of like not a wise decision to
looking back at
really
it 8 months later, you're kind of like, this wasn't a perfect thing that I did.
And I'm glad that I'm in a sense, I'm glad that I stuck it out. I mean, I didn't want to quit. I only thought about quitting a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where it was like, I really started, it was really burning me out.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to reflect, like, do I actually want to stay in this company?
Yeah, it's like kind of like when you're doing your dream job, it's like, oh, it's kind of stressful. But then you realize, like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm doing what I love.
Yes.
But you weren't feeling that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, this recruiting job made money. Like, it made money.
Yeah.
Because
I saw you waste money.
Yeah. it is a low. In a lot of recruiting jobs, you'll find that it's low base salary, and then you get commission.
Yeah.
And that commission is really what's that money. But like, yeah, there's a monetary reward, like that's like increasing my like dopamine and reward levels in my head.
Oh.
But there's no like intrinsic reward that's like, I love what I'm doing, or at least I like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not even okay with what I'm doing. Honestly, some parts of this job
it's
felt like
not morally correct.
Yes, some parts of this job felt immoral. If anyone else is listening to the podcast and
feels like that,
yeah, and has worked in like recruiting or sales job, I think you probably might know what I'm talking about. In that, like, you're selling things that can change, and then you're also dealing with people who, like, you're dealing with humans. So, for example, if I hired someone and I said, hey, I have this position for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes that position just says bye.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't, and they end up like, you know, wasting time interviewing with me and then onboarding, and then they don't get the job. So that's just one of several things that happen every day.
Yeah.
And that just like, it really like hurts me. And so dealing with that for 8 months, like in the beginning there was a honeymoon period, which lasted about a month or two, and then I settled and I was like, okay, this is nice. And then I saw the
honeymoon
money.
period during like your training period?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, because everyone was really nice to me, and not like everyone's like mean to me now, but it's just like, it felt like, ooh, like new environment, like office job, like not food service. But you know, and then I started seeing like the money come in, but then like give it a couple more months, like around like now on the 8-month mark, I'm just like, I'm tired, I'm going home, and I'm just wanting to sleep. And I don't think that's like normal,
what life should be like.
No. And it was really, honestly, really depressing.
It's very like interesting that I hear you say that right now, because I think like a while back when you were in your job search, you asked me like, how important do you think like work-life balance is? And the fact that you didn't really have, because I noticed that like in the beginning we would go out like after you were done working, and then like lately, like we haven't done that, and I feel like that kind of like, I kind of like saw from like an outsider's perspective that you were like stressed, and you're just like, I just want to go home.
Oh my God. It's kind of like we don't talk anymore like we used to. Charlie Puth.
I see.
But not in like a relationship way. It's just like my job was sucking the soul out of me.
And like,
but I really appreciate you like saying that as a bystander, because I told my parents a couple of nights ago that I was gonna quit.
You broke the news to them.
Or actually last night. And my job was like, I mean, my job. My dad was like, yeah, I observed you like coming home and you were like really like you were really tired.
Oof.
And like yeah, I thank you for that validation because sometimes like when you're in it,
you don't realize what you're doing.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost I don't realize that I'm going home right after work. I'm like
And just
and I either just like watch Twitch all day for the night and like just like I don't even pursue like my hobbies anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really it's sad. It's honestly sad and depressing. So I drafted up my 2 weeks and
Yay.
I'm gonna quit. So by the time this episode comes out, I'm probably not gonna have a job, but that's fine.
Maybe you will. Who knows what happens?
I know. So now
the world works in wonderful ways.
And I mean, yeah, it's just not for me. And I feel kind of bad because I mean, like I feel like because now we're like hiring people to join our team.
You feel bad like leaving them in the midst of like all the chaos.
I feel bad, and also the people that we're trying, like the people we're looking for to join our team are people who are staying it for the long haul. And I think I remember in my interview for this company, I was like, yeah, I'm in it for the long haul because I know that's what they wanted to hear.
Maybe that's what they want to do.
Yeah, but I mean, people are people, and
they're gonna eventually like feel the way that you did.
Yeah, but I mean, some people have promoted and they've been there for like 5, 7, 8 years.
Yeah,
which is great. But I'm realizing, like, man, it's still fresh in my mind that I just graduated college and I'm actually really interested in what I studied at college, and I actually want like a job that I actually like. So I think these past 8 months haven't been a total fluke. Like I made money, I have enough savings to like live off of,
and you gained a new skill that you can eventually like use or can help you get a job that
recruiting.
You want.
Yeah. I was basically on the other side of the hiring process, so I know like what questions,
exactly,
what answers people want. So in a sense, it did develop me, but it definitely broke me down. So yeah,
and for what?
Literally, and for what? But I'm glad. I know when I talked to my mom, like when I told her like I want to quit, she was like, do you think you can stick it out like for at least a year?
Yeah.
And I thought about that. I was like, I mean, on my resume that might look less worse, but I mean, does a line on
at the end of the day, you're always gonna quit. And it's kind of like, well, then what am I doing this for?
Yes, what am I doing this for? And like, yeah, I might be doing it, to save more money, but at the expense of what? My mental health?
Exactly.
So that's kind of a big thing that's happened
in your world.
Yeah, in my world as a Generation Z.
And I feel like a lot of people are like dealing with that too, especially with like entry level positions, because I feel like people in the higher ups can feel like they can play them, they can push all the workload on them, and they're like, what do I do? Like, do I stick it out or do I leave?
Yeah. So I think if I were to take away from like where I am
what's
right
your
now,
one main takeaway to close this off?
I would say,
because you don't know what can happen tomorrow when you turn in your resignation letter.
I know. I would probably say, if I could go back in time, or if I were to give anyone advice listening to this podcast who's currently,
would you do it again?
Like take this job again?
Like if you were to go back in time knowing the things that you know, would you do it again?
No, I would not do that. I would not choose this job if I knew what this would entail, because I feel like I didn't do enough research on what this job could be in like the pros and cons.
Yeah.
I just took it. So if I were to give advice to anyone who's going through college or even anyone who's in the job search, to really be picky. Yeah. And to really like look at the options on the menu and think about like, what do I like? And sometimes you gotta eat it, and you eat the L. And sometimes I tried this job, and I was eating it for 8 months, and it turned out to actually not. I don't like it. I hate it. And to put this in just like regular terms, I am gonna stop talking in analogies. A freaking restaurant menu, but like really like recognize your worth as a person, and try to think about and collect your thoughts of, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. I don't necessarily know what I want to do in the next like 10 years, but I do know I'm interested in this and this, and I'm not going to settle for a job that
this that has this, that, and
yes that. So and obviously I think I would I would probably, in my next job hunt, which might be coming up in the next couple months, to apply to as many jobs as possible. Because back then I only applied to 3 jobs max.
I feel like what they say is like make your pool bigger, so then like you can get to the one.
Yeah, I want to swim in a pool.
Yeah, swim in it and then get to it.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a little fishbowl.
Exactly.
No,
and I also want to say one thing. I feel like with first generation like students and like people, I feel like they have a harder time. It's like, but this opportunity might not come. Yeah. And then I feel like
it might be like a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, it's like, what if this is a once in a lifetime thing because I can't get to that? And I feel like that's also like really like, it's sad that people have to think about it that way.
I know, because then you're like kind of limiting yourself for no reason.
Yeah, and I feel like we need to learn that we can be picky with the job. Like if this job isn't going to get me what I want, but because I feel like this can be my only opportunity, I feel like you should try to look at it in a different way. It's like, you know your worth because you're gonna get another job, you're gonna get another offer.
Oh yeah. Like suddenly when I was like writing my resignation, I was like, man, I'm worth more than this job. Like I don't get paid enough for this. I know what I want. Well, maybe I might not know exactly. Like
and it's very hard with us too because we're like recent grads. And it's like,
yes, and we're still.
What are we looking for? Like, is our career gonna like shift? Exactly. Yeah.
And I know you're currently in a job search.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm.
You're joining me.
I'm joining you in the same boat.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do want to like hope and try and pass on this wisdom to you to like when you're applying to jobs.
What?
Don't make the same mistake that I did. I don't want to see you like. I mean, obviously, I want to see you grow and learn, but like, I think like now that I've gone through like settling, I mean, I know you probably know not to settle.
I mean, have you seen the list of men I've?
No, actually, can you show me?
Yeah, do you want to see?
Yeah, I too agree with you. Like, especially being first generation,
kind of like we have like knowing our worth and juggling that, but then also like tie in like my opportunities are kind of limited.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like I wish college might have like taught me more,
better or more.
Yeah. But I just like I just gotta fuck around and find out.
Exactly, and that's all we gotta do. Because we don't know. Yeah, life is weird.
Yeah,
like for example, me, and what I hope that you can like take away from this, the fact that this weekend I was a VIP guest for like a company that rejected me.
That's insane.
And just like see how that works and see how the tables can turn in like a matter of time.
Yeah, like it really do be like
that. It's like
so that's honestly like reflecting back, like when my phone like reminds me of like, oh, look back, this was you 1 year ago,
and you were crying.
You were crying too.
Oh, I was crying a lot. We were both crying a lot.
And like there's a level of growth and realization and learning and accomplishments that's happened. So but yeah, I guess it's bittersweet.
But we gotta take the risk of like doing something like quitting our job.
Oh, you gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit because you're gonna get more things. Calm down.
Dude,
my foot fell asleep. I just want to say in that last segment, and it's waking up. So like, if you see me do anything weird, just know that that's happening with my foot.
Yeah, we're sitting on the floor.
I like it. I really like sitting on the floor.
On the floor.
I don't know the song.
Know
your worth. I feel like that's a constant thing that you're always learning and unlearning. It's like, that's not my worth.
Yeah, and I mean also recognizing like, oh, that is my worth.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're both, and not to gas ourselves up, but I think you and I and a lot of people in our generation are really talented, and you know, we have to go through shit to like
we have to go through the mud to get to the river.
Oh my god.
Thanks. I just made that up.
That was really profound. That was actually really profound.
Stop clapping.
That was a good one. Okay, so besides quitting my job, that's probably the most biggest event that's happened.
I feel like there's different avenues that you can know your worth in. Because you knowing your worth career-wise, I'm gonna I don't know if that's a word.
Car-
Careerial.
Careerial profession.
No, I like the word careerial.
Uh,
Yeah, knowing your worth in the career atmosphere and knowing your worth in your personal atmosphere.
like relationships.
Relationships
Uh,
and like our next segment that we're going to talk about, friendships. I don't know how to segue into that.
I know. I was gonna start singing songs from SpongeBob, but
F is
I
for
have
friends who do stuff together.
Yeah, friendships are something that I now, as an adult in our 20s,
I think it's harder.
it is,
And especially
so
with like a
difficult.
pandemic.
Especially with the pandemic and a world war that's about to happen, and
the gas prices.
The gas prices. I can't drive to meet new friends if I can't. Okay, I'm being dramatic, but no, I think even without the pandemic, like before,
It was still hard.
yeah, I think I was in my 20s before the pandemic hit.
I was 21.
Yeah, same. Okay,
So you were 21.
Yeah, so we lived as 21-year-olds before this whole thing.
Yeah, we haven't really experienced our 20s.
Yeah, we're experiencing it right now.
Yeah, in the middle of like so many things happening.
But yeah, friendships are. It's hard to, I think.
Yeah, because like in our 20s, like there's already established friendships that you can't like. It's kind of hard to like break through that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard, but not impossible.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. It's near impossible. Well, no, I think it's definitely how you look at it and how you approach it. Like for me, I think I have to like really like hype myself up to really go out somewhere, or like, you know, I don't know where people meet each other. I know I remember I used to try and look for like meetup.com groups.
Ew.
I know. See, it's cringe. Is it cringe?
Because meetup.com people are like
They're
old men.
You know what? No, some people were cool. I went to a Tai Chi event, and there was like one like old guy, but there's like a bunch of like young people.
Oh, okay.
But you know, it just feels. I think the energy that putting into finding new friends can be a lot, and like finding like new like friends organically.
Yeah, I very much like the fact of meeting anyone organically.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't do well on dating apps, because I'm no. I don't like this.
Oh yeah, and you know we talked about dating, but there's no like online friendship.
I think
apps.
Bumble Friends,
really?
Tinder Friends.
Oh,
There's
really?
something like that. Yeah.
Tinder Friends. Right.
Friends.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Audio listeners, you're spared.
Yeah, audio listeners, you're welcome. Who's ever watching us through here? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, whether I meet friends through my work and they be like coworkers become friends.
Yeah.
Or I mean, like you, I know you're pursuing your other project and interest.
Other projects, yeah.
And would you consider
I would consider
those
them
business
friends.
partners your friends?
Yeah, they're very much like we're partners in creating something very special. But I feel like because we're like really starting to like, well, I'm really starting because I'm like the new person, and like I'm very thankful the fact that like they make the effort, or I don't even know if there is an effort or there's an organic effort being made to like be friends, and I really feel it, and it really like comforts me.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good bond to have, especially when like it doesn't sound like
Follow Our Vibes Media.
shameless plug. It doesn't.
I don't care.
It's not like it sounds like a really wholesome like relationships that you've built with them that are both professional and they can be personal, and I think that's really valuable.
And I think that's why I really didn't like networking, because like it like people faked a friendship, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
because it was like I kind of saw it, and I'm like, I don't know if it's because I'm an empath.
A natural empath.
But yeah, I'm like, I can see the fakeness.
Yeah, and
I don't like using that word.
Yeah, I don't know how else a better way to put it.
I don't know.
Like almost like they don't have good like intention, like
exactly
intentions targeted towards actually fostering a relationship, but more of like clout chasing.
Yes. And that's why like when I started to kind of like network more, I'm like, I really want to build like a friendship with these people. Exactly. Anyways,
I love that you went in with those intentions.
Like I really want to like Send them a fruit basket.
Oh, a fruit basket. Like
an edible arrangement.
Edible arrangements. I love those. They're like chocolate dipped,
No,
like
they're so good.
melons and stuff.
Someone sent me an edible arrangement. Someone sent my family an edible arrangement when my grandma died like 2 years ago, and it was really good. I'm like,
it's a perfect way to cope, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Edible arrangements.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think the reason why we wanted to talk about this was because why it ties into like our other segment of quitting our job and knowing our worth is because like during this pandemic, I really like found out my worth in friendships because like I was like hit really hard with like in the friendship department when this pandemic hit. I don't know how to get into it. You just got vulnerable, and now I had to get vulnerable, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, how can we like approach this? We can like maybe from like a more of like a bystander's point of view, like.
Did you see any? I want to ask. Did you see anything?
I mean, in like changes
when
in
the pandemic hit, yeah. After the pandemic hit.
Gosh, I really have to think, but it feels like forever ago. I mean, I would say you're better where you are now than before.
How so?
I know, like before, it sounded like a lot of our conversations would revolve around like, you know, friendships that are troubling you, and it sounded like maybe you weren't in like.
The best place?
Yeah, like the best headspace.
Yeah.
And I mean, clearly it sounds like it was friendships that were affecting you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like these were lifelong friendships.
Exactly.
And that hurts more.
And it was like even before the pandemic was happening. Because I remember when we really started to hang out and like we were now in the same college together, you had your job at Starbucks in downtown Disney, and I had a Disney pass, and we started going more to Disneyland. And the reason why I had my Disney pass was because I got it with someone I considered my best friend.
I remember that.
Yeah, we got it together, and then she would be like, "Oh, let's go like Thursday," and I'd be like, "I bet." I would change my plans on Thursday. I would adjust my schedule so I could be at home quicker, and like then we can go.
That's a commitment.
And then I'd be like, "Okay, like I'm ready whenever you are," and she'd be like, "Oh, Thursday? I meant Sunday," and it's kind of like the fact that I like, yeah, it would happen a lot. So, and then that's why I was like so thankful that because then we started to connect, and I'm like. The fact that like this person, and I would be like, "Oh, do you want to go right now?" And you'd be like, "Yes," and we would just like go. Yeah. I feel like that's like what I'm so thankful for is like you're just like, "Okay, let's do it."
Yeah,
let's do it.
And it sounds like being able to compare like two different friendships, you're realizing like what you want.
Exactly. It's like I'm not like, why am I giving this other person the time of day when they're like not even putting much importance to me was what it felt like.
Yeah.
And then so that was even before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and we haven't seen each other before like any of that time. I haven't seen her since like before the pandemic.
Would you guys go to like Disneyland a lot?
Yes. So like the first time we had our passes, we would go a lot. And then the second time it's like, why did I even do this? Like, why did I even waste my money on this if we're not even going to go?
Yeah. It sounds like she was getting like really soft. Like,
it's like, yeah, it was really annoying. And then, so the pandemic hit, and I realized that she started like to make these new friends, which I didn't mind. Like, go for it. But the fact that she was hanging out with them more, and she would cancel plans on me and go with those people, it's kind of like, oh, so you're showing me what my place is.
Yeah. How did you know that she was hanging out with other people?
I would see on her Instagram. Yeah. Which is kind of another thing that we wanted to talk about.
I think this is a really smooth transition.
Yeah, we can go to that.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm done.
You can still talk about. No, I think we should still talk about like.
That's a good enough context. The fact that like. She would post because she's very much a big poster. She wants people to know what she's doing.
Yeah, and maybe she wanted you to know what she was doing.
I don't know, like because I also don't care about any of that. So so she would like post that a lot, and I'm like, and at one point like recently, I think it was her birthday, and I'm like, I'm not a bad person. I'm gonna wish her a happy birthday, so I did, even though I kind of didn't want to, but I was like, I kind of do want to. And then I think that was the breaking point when she texted me back, well, I hope we can make time for each other. And it's like the fact that like I have always made an effort to make time for you and you never made an effort to make time for me.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. And you don't even have to like
that's when I put my foot down and I'm like, I know my worth.
Yeah.
And essentially for me, this is almost over, because if you want to be in my life again, I deserve an apology.
Yeah.
And that's how I know my worth.
And it sounds like you made like a really rational decision, because not to cheapen like the efforts it takes to put into friendship and energy it takes to maintain a friendship, but like if you're not even interested in like planning and then committing to the plans, like that just says you're just not interested at all.
Yeah. And that kind of made me like, am I even like worth it enough to like, am I even important enough to have friends?
Yeah.
And that goes into another thing, because I'm like, am I even important enough to have friends? And I turned to someone because I was lonely. I was feeling lonely even though I really had you, but I'm like, I'm losing this person and I'm starting to feel like lonely. So I turned to this other person who's a friend of a friend. I'm not going to say the real title of the other person, but yeah, she's a friend of a friend, to protect the identity of this person. And I started hanging out with them. I really appreciated the time we spent, but then I noticed I'm like, this person is a good influence on me. So, and then one day, like I kind of like, they invited me out, and as I was sitting there, I'm like, I had that moment. It's like, I know my worth and I shouldn't be here. So I left. And they were drunk and I don't think in the right headspace. So I like blew up. I'm like, I put my foot down, I slammed it down.
Yeah.
And that happened. And that almost...
It's just like not... like this is not my crowd.
Yeah, this is not my crowd. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I can't believe how did I get here?
Yeah,
kind
like
of moment.
here by Alessia Cara kind of shit.
Yes. And that almost ruined that. I think ruined the relationship that I had with the person that introduced me to that person.
Oh, because they were mutual.
Yeah. And it was almost ruined. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a hole that I dug myself in. I don't know if you ever saw any of that.
No, I think you carried yourself quite well, actually,
thank
now
you.
that you're explaining it. I mean, thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you mentioned, like, bad influences, because I was talking about this with my other friend, about, like, getting away from bad influences, because that's also knowing your worth, in a sense. It's like, I know the respect that I deserve, and I know, like, what I don't want and what I do want, and... maybe I'm still learning what exactly I want, but then as I learn...
I feel like you're always learning what you want.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I might say, like maybe I'm at a restaurant. I'm like, ooh, I want this. And then maybe I'm like, I don't want it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's a really simplified way of putting relationships, because they're much more intertwined and complicated.
I feel like we have a lot of restaurant analogies.
Yeah, we love food.
Yeah.
We did a chicken nugget episode. So.
I love chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We got to do another one of those.
With fries?
How do you cook? Can you really compare? Yeah, you can compare fries.
Del Taco fries and Jack in the Box fries are two different things.
Oh, totally different. And curly fries.
Oh my God. I don't really like curly fries.
Okay, yeah. No, we'll talk about that later. Cajun fries?
Cajun fries. I don't know how to pronounce things.
Cajun fries.
I'm an ELD student. Anyways.
Is that your excuse?
Well, you made fun of me last night for pronouncing Dove. Dove?
You said Dove. Who says Dove soap? Sorry, that's really mean.
What were you saying? Bad influence.
Yeah, and like, I'm glad that you got out of that. I mean, some people like maybe like down for that. Like some people might want to be like intoxicated.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not my crowd.
No, yeah, and that's okay. And that's kind of like me with my job. Kind of like to synthesize everything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like other people. Like I'm in this crowd of people who like. I hope they like this job. If not, then because I'm sure I know some of my coworkers also kind of despise my job. But like being in that environment of like, wow, everyone's okay with doing this, and like feeling this way and feeling stressed out. I'm like, I'm not about that. Like I'm just gonna quit.
Much more.
Yes. So wow, I think these are like really important
conversations.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm so proud that like. You're
I
growing,
got out of that, yeah.
But then of course
and
you
I think,
end up with
I do want to say one more last thing. It's like my circle got smaller, but there's this saying, it's like it's better to have good company than bad company.
I was gonna just try and say something, but you said it so well. You said it so well. I was about to like say the exact same thing. Like I was gonna mention like, I mean, after losing these like you know, friends that you didn't necessarily want, you end up with much smaller.
Yeah, it's like it's better to be surrounded by good people who want good things for me than people who don't care about me.
Yeah. It's better to be surrounded by people. Sorry, what did you say?
Good. It's better to. So there's this in Spanish. It's mejor sola que mal acompañada. So it's better to be alone than it's better to be lonely than to have bad friends.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And my sister's always like, "Oh, you don't have friends." That's like, it's better because you have really bad friends. So like,
yeah. And I start to wonder, like, I mean, quantity over quality.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But sometimes like I can count how many friends I have like on one hand.
My hand.
Yeah, literally on my hand. And sometimes I feel the urge to kind of grow that, but I feel like
my energy, I'd rather protect my energy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I also don't want to become like not
I don't want to put exactly.
I don't want to close myself. But I'm okay with what's inside.
I'm open
right
to
now.
Opening myself, but I also like there's instances where I'd rather be closed.
Yes, and I don't know if I'm doing that out of like trauma from past like friendships and relationships. But I mean, I think, fine where I am.
I mean, essentially, maybe that is, but like,
yeah. And again, just to acknowledge, like,
but it's better to be careful.
Yeah, and like just to reiterate, like we are in a pandemic. Like it's unfortunately normal
out
here. Yeah. So I mean, with that.
With that, I put my foot down with the other friend that I was talking about first, and like I muted her because I just don't want to be not knowing what she's doing, but I just don't want to like. It's kind of like when you're on a TV. It's like I don't like that station. I'm gonna turn it off.
Yeah, or it's like on Spotify. Like I hate this artist. I'm gonna block them.
Camila Cabello. I put her on my do not playlist because I don't want to hear her. So essentially that's what I did with this other friend. Like I muted her on my stories, and I think she notices because as much as I would, because with the second person that I was talking about, I blocked her on everything. I don't want her to have any access to me because I'm like, you don't deserve it. So with this other friend, I feel like because she's realizing that I'm almost blocking her view on me, I feel like she's always the first one to like look at my stories 3 seconds in.
This whole thing, and not to like, I'm not calling you like petty, but
I love being petty.
This whole thing, like, it's just like you're just. You just did one action. My life. you just clicked one button on Instagram, and then she's doing one action on Instagram, and like we read into these things like really heavily.
And I know how you were like, "Are you just reading into it?" But it's like I know these people.
Yeah, you know why she's looking at your stories.
What they're doing.
Yeah. But it sounds like I don't know, like why is she
looking at my stories?
Yeah.
I think because she was so close to me, and like now that she like. Isn't she's like what she's doing, and that's why I save my like if I'm out and I'm recording and I'm having a good time, I'll be on my I put it on my stories, I'll record it, but I'll save it and then upload it to the end of the night so she doesn't know what I'm doing at that exact moment.
See, is she
and
living
that's a safe thing to do for anything, like.
Yeah.
Because maybe your house can get robbed because they're like, oh, she's not there.
Yeah, you have a little stalker on your hands.
Exactly.
So why don't you just straight up block her?
Because I feel like she was so close and almost like a family member.
And she knows where he lives.
And she knows where I live. I feel like that would immediately like, this is the end.
Yeah.
She blocked me. This is the definite end.
This is, honestly, this sounds wild because like as
and
someone
I don't mind putting a definite end, but I don't know what's stopping me.
No, yeah, but I totally get like you want to play with caution, and because
all I want is an apology.
How much? Yeah, that's not too much to ask for.
And I think, anyways,
what?
I don't know. I just think that she'll never give it to me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she's not.
Yeah, and if she's watching this. I'm gonna tell her what she did wrong. Sorry, I'm getting into my petty side and my.
I mean, it sounds
because hold on one more thing.
Keep going.
I told someone this and they're like, "Oh, maybe she thinks she's mad at you," and I'm like, I was never mad at her. In the beginning of all this, like I have never felt angry at her, and talking about this, I've never felt angry because if I were angry, she would be dead. No, it would be much more.
Yeah, you're not like
I would completely dox
you're
her.
not foaming at the teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like she did you like completely wrong. It sounds like there were some like I want to say like social mishaps that occurred, but I think you're handling it as best as you can.
I just said that I would kill her. I'm just kidding. I would never. I would never kill a person.
I wanted to chime in like
Oh yeah, please.
like as an individual who hasn't been on Instagram in a significant amount of time, like a couple months at least. This all sounds, and I would participate in the same things, like muting people and maybe blocking people and reacting like really really strongly to actions that people take on social media. And what I'm hearing is like almost like a series of like events that's unfolded without any interaction happening like between you, but like things are happening, like it's affecting the way you're posting stories. It's you're noticing that she's
stalking me.
Yes, and it's almost like there's so much like focus into the activity and almost like the politics of how people play on social media. Like I think that impacts us a lot.
Yeah,
because like for me, I was really impacted like when I started Instagram, and sometimes I still feel this way. Which is why I deactivate so much, is like figuring out like, do people pay attention to me? Or maybe even looking at like counts.
Exactly.
And I don't know, there's just so much going on, which I mean,
I don't really think about any of that things.
Yeah.
But like
which
if I know them personally and I know the way they work, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I mean, with my ex, I would say I just straight up like blocked him.
Yeah.
I know it, like when we first broke up, like I think we didn't immediately block each other, so I'd see him like look at my stuff, and I'm like, oh, you're looking, like why? And then try and make
I don't think I ever asked that. I'm like, oh, you're looking, why? I think it's like, oh, good, you're looking. You're seeing that I'm having the time of my life and it moved on perfectly.
Yeah, watch me be better without you.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're not still in that sucky relationship.
Yeah. I'm good too.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I at this point, like when we went through school, like we met people and like we met each other and then reconnected, or like whether it be at our jobs and we meet people. But I think I'm fine with not
having as many friends.
I think I'm settling in with that, and not like as a feeling of like defeat, like I'm not gonna find new friends.
Yeah, it's like I'm fine.
Yeah. So like I'm perfectly content. I mean, do you feel hungry for more friends? Or?
No, I don't. I'm like, if they come, they come, but I'm not like actively looking.
Oh, that's so wholesome. I mean, I know there's people who are like always trying to meet new people, and like, gosh, that just sounds.
I feel like they also think like they're better if they have more friends. And it's like sometimes you're not.
Yeah, and I think that can also play into like social
who
media.
Who they are as a person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I feel like if you're like always hanging out with different sets of people and you're like posting it and you're like having the time of your life, like you care about that.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
People know who you are, even if you haven't met them, because I'm always posting you, because I'm always with you, because I'm always having a good time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I started posting like me hanging out with other people, I think maybe you should call for help for me.
Like, and then I see you like smiling and I'm like, I feel like he's going into a cult.
Stop. Speaking of social
pictures
media, I think we can end on like this.
We wanted to end on a good note.
Yeah,
the purpose of a photograph.
What we talked about has been pretty deep.
Yeah,
but
we really got vulnerable.
Oh yeah, but yeah, the purpose of
a photograph.
Sorry.
I know Ed Sheeran's
this. On your block list.
Ed Sheeran is on my block list
because you know your
yes, exactly. My ears will not be infected by that.
So the purpose of a photo. Okay, so we thought of this topic to talk about because we noticed that our phones were reminding us to look back, like
it's like where we were a year ago.
Like literally, if I open my phone right now and I open my photos, it'll say, it'll say, "Oh, look where you were 1, 2, 3 years ago."
1 year ago, we were eating Costco hot dogs.
Oh, I miss that. See, and then like you start to
You
think
did
about,
that when you didn't have a job. We would just go lunch at Costco.
I miss that. So like, you know, like a photograph can mean like you can the reason for taking a photograph can be different. Like like, oh, I'm going to take this because it looks nice. Or I'm going to use it as
a reminder.
Yeah. Or, oh, this reminds me of something. I'm going to take it. Or as simple as like, oh, I don't want to forget this. I'll take a picture of this. But I'm starting to recognize like how important photographs are, even though technology is crazy now, and now we can get reminded every other day of what we were doing 1 year ago. Which in a sense is kind of, and being able to look back at those and remind yourself of like what happened. I mean, I think that's how I've been approaching photography lately. I used to do it as like a hobby where like I would post on a feed to get like,
I think now I just take it because I'm like, I want to remember this.
Yeah. Even if it's like a really bad photo or like even videos now. I really do value
like the videos because like you can hear what you're saying, you can like feel the vibes, but you can't get that from a photograph.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have, I feel like I was really shy in front of the camera. Like I would not want to be in photos. Yeah. But now I'm like, eh. Or like,
I think it's also like because we're growing, we don't care how we look.
Oh no, yeah. But I mean, I think there's still kind of a healthy balance of taking too many pictures.
Definitely.
Do you think so?
I think like
I'm literally like, I'm not taking pictures like while we're on this podcast. I'm not taking pictures while like we're getting.
But I do
a
like
coffee or like
we're not taking pictures every single day because if we were taking pictures every single day that we hang out, there'll be like way too many photos. But yeah, it's like
I think that might like almost devalue.
Like if you take a picture of everything, it's gonna devalue the purpose of it and the meaning of it. So I feel like a healthy amount. It's like I want to remember this, so I'm gonna take a picture of it.
I really like that. Like when we went out for a walk at that lake.
Yes.
It was really beautiful. I'm like, I really want to remember this.
I want to take a picture of this. Yeah.
I really want to remember this.
And I also like sharing pictures, like, because I'm like, oh, this is cute. Like, look how cute.
Yeah. And I love when like, I don't know.
Like your aunt on Facebook like comments. Like you look like you're having your good time, and I'm like, I am.
Oh, that's so wholesome. I mean, I don't have an Instagram, so I've really been like, I haven't really been posting to share. Or taking pictures to share, but more so like I'm just taking pictures because it's just going to store on my phone. And I'm going to be able to look at it later.
I wasn't on Instagram for like the last half of 2019, and I just really like taking pictures of it, and I never posted anything of that. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, look what I was doing. Like once I'm bored, I'm like, I look back, I'm like, what was I doing?
Yeah. I remember there's a point which led me to deactivate Instagram was really getting into my head about other people like constantly recording their lives and like sharing it and like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
I think like they're like on social media, people can come off like they're rubbing it in your face.
Yes, and I used to be really judgmental of them, like, ugh, like imagine living their life. Like it must be like they're not really,
and their stories look like this small.
Like the little lines, like Morse code. I used to be like, damn, that's like a terrible, like you're not living in the present kind of thing. But now I'm just like really focusing on myself, especially since I deactivated. Like I'm not seeing people overly share their posts,
and I think that won't influence you. It's like, oh, I have to record this.
Yeah, and I would get a lot of FOMO like looking on that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I like looking back a year ago, 2 years ago.
Maybe one day we'll look back at this. Anyways, we stopped recording, but that's okay.
Yeah,
because we heard our beautiful voices.
But yeah, I think photographs, no matter how you interpret the action of taking a photograph, I think in the end, like you're recording like a memory that you might look back at. You might forget about.
Because maybe you'll forget about it. That's like, oh, this is what I did on a random Sunday morning.
Oh no, yeah, seriously. And sometimes I like literally forget what we did last year, and I'm like, oh, we did that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
just to end this, because Yeah.
That was, I mean, I think what we talked about today was really like...
It was I think, yeah, people would appreciate it. Like, I'll look back on this and be like, oh, that's what we were talking about. I need to remember that. And things like that. Our foots fell asleep a lot in this episode. So maybe that's why we're fidgeting. But,
so, yeah, on the next episode...
Do you want to tease?
A little tease?
I don't think we should tease because I don't even know if we're going to talk about that.
Oh,
maybe
God.
maybe we'll get vulnerable in the next episode and talk about how the turntables.
I like that. I like that. That's very ominous.
Who knows what we'll talk about next? But yeah.
See you next episode.
See you next episode.